Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I hope that you guys are ready because it's gonna be a very cold lesson. Today we are basically at a little bit under minus 15 or 16 degrees, and then with the wind factor it brings it down quite a lot. So I must say that was the most freezing lesson I've ever had in my life. Actually, my fingers froze during that lesson, as well as the reins were frozen during this lesson. So I hope that you guys enjoy it regardless, and let's get into it. So the first thing that we have done during this lesson is basically to lunge Hazel on both sides. Just to assess and see if she was feeling okay. I had lunged her the weekend before, and unfortunately with the temperatures I wasn't able to be at the barn during the week, as well as with my actual work schedule, so I had to be, that was on a Friday, so she was lunged the Saturday prior, and then she would only work this Friday, so that's why I decided to just lunge her and see if she would be okay for the lesson. Since the temperatures are actually pretty cool, so we take a little bit longer of a time to really warm her up and just get her heartbeat or heart rate at the right level, as well as making sure that she has enough time to kind of stretch and get everything positioned properly before we even do the canter, which is the thing that we're still working on. So we're just going here across around the arena and just making sure we can just see how she is, or if she's fresh or not. And it's going pretty well. I must say that eventually over time the reins slowly started freezing, and so we had a bit of communication issues. So you will see that momentarily in a little bit of a few times. The other thing is also my gloves were not the best for the job here. They are the SSG gloves for winter, and literally my fingers froze, like I said earlier. I literally had frostbites on my finger after that lesson for how cold it was. So one of the things that you will notice here with this lesson is that we have a bit of communication issues due basically to the reins freezing, literally. And since they're like frozen, they're literally hard. And so when you're asking or you're trying to communicate to your horse with your hands, it's just not really working really great. So you will see in this lesson, I'm going to have a little bit of issues with that, as well as with getting Hazel to move laterally off my leg, and I'm not sure exactly what it's caused by, but I don't know if it's because of the temperature, or I don't know if it's the blanket that's in the way. Anyway, how we had a bit of these communication issues as well. So here we are doing a few exercises in order to prepare us for the canter work, and that's exactly when I realized that the reins were actually freezing and they were not really responding well to my hands. So you will see Hazel will start cutting a little bit off of the wall here, and then that's when we really noticed that something was a little bit wrong about the communication, that we're having a few issues here and there. Definitely the reins freezing is not gonna help the situation. But overall, Hazel was a really, really good horse. The thing is that when she doesn't get a good contact with my hands, she gets a little pushy, and that's why it's a little bit hard, because she's pulling you forward and your hands are freezing, the reins are frozen, and it's just not really a great headspace. So as you can see here, she starts cutting corners and I have a hard time to push her on the outside. So we're just doing a little spiral work here to try to work these out and help us gain control, because in the canter it's a little bit harder to fix those issues if they're not addressed in the first place. So after changing leads, we're attempting to do the same exercise on the other side, of course. And as you can see here, we're having a little bit of issues with Hazel bolting forward a little bit, as well as not really being responsive to my leg aids, and she's also being a little bit pushy with her nose as well. So I'm having a little bit of a trouble doing that. So one of the ways that we did to help Hazel work that out is basically backing her up when she gets really too pushy, which is something I'm doing right now. And that's something that just helps kind of reset her brain and just teaches her to not be pushy as much, not be a bully, and just really follow my lead. And whenever I'm ready, I'm going to ask for the next speed. But it's not on our own time. It's on my decision. So that's something that we had a little bit of issues with. So once again, still backing her up here. As she tends to get really pushy when I'm actually trying to get her to open up and just really stick to the wall. So I don't know how she's reading that signal, but definitely the weather doesn't help. So here I'm practicing a bit of sitting trot. That is something that I had a hard time with at the beginning of our journey. Right now, with 4 months in, I've really practiced this as well on my own. It's actually a little bit better. And then as you can see here, that's our first try to the canter, and it's a little bit bumpy. I have not the best control over her when it comes to like lateral. Like I said, that's something I'm having a hard time with, just because the reins are so frozen. I really have to, if I'm opening my outside rein, I really have to open it almost fully and extend my arm in order to have the right signal for her in her mouth. So she's trying really hard. As you can tell, she is, I guess, as upset as I am because we can't get it to work properly. We don't have the correct like communication between the both of us, so it's a bit of a hard time for both of us. But she's a real trooper. She's, you know, always trying her hardest to please, and also working really hard. She's a hard worker, so I'm really thankful for that. But as you can see here, we have a little bit of mixed signals and mixed emotions together. So once again, just backing her up, putting her brain back in her skull there, just giving her a moment, and then we're going to try again. So as you can see here, the trot is actually really good in the rhythm, but she's still cutting that corner a bit short. So still trying to work her to just really push her outside, and once again it's cut even more. So doing a little bit of spiral work, trying to really work into my inside leg and pushing her outwards and see if that's gonna fix it. And as you can see, it's a little bit better than it was, but still she's getting that corner kind of short by about 2-3 feet. So just gotta keep on trying. And as you can see here, it's really like a communication issues between the both of us, and that's why it's getting her a little flustered, and she's pulling forward with her head, and I'm trying to hold her back a little bit, just keep her with me. And that's a bit of a tug of war that we're having here, while the reins are really stiff. Like there's no bend in those reins. They're literally frozen into place. So here, try to aim to really push her out, but I'm having a lot of issue getting her to just move off my leg. And as my coach asked for a canter, that's for sure something that was about to happen. Is we just are stuck in about a 5 to 10 meter circle, and as you can see, I can kind of push her outwards to the 10 meter, but we're still staying pretty tight and close. So once again, backing her up. Like I said, that's the reset button. If ever you're unsure, if ever your horse is pushy, if ever there's anything, always back them up. So like that, you can kind of reset it and try again. It just really helps to kind of refresh their brain and just get them to focus on what you're gonna ask next. So I really like this little tips and tricks. That's something that really helped us tremendously, because Hazel is a racehorse. Or an ex-racehorse, and therefore she's always going to push to go forward, and that's something that I have to live with and deal with and be aware of, and that's not like a big issue if you're aware of it and you know how to fix it. So the backing up, resetting type of thing really helped us kind of help her just, you know, think of something else, and also to stay with me consistently at any gait, even if I'm asking her to collect herself, even if I'm asking her to just make her trot a little bit more compact, or if I'm asking her anything new, you'll see me try to either back her up if she's not doing the right thing, or do a half halt. So that's something I also do a lot, is half halting. That's the next thing that's going to help you tremendously if you're retraining a racehorse. So as you can see here, the work is actually a little bit better. We're not cutting that corner as short anymore, which I'm quite happy with. So what happened here is it just was really like a huge communication issue. If my reins are not working properly, it just, you're missing half of the communication. So as you can see here, I'm really putting a lot of emphasis on my half halting and on my hands and my aids, just trying to get some work done. And try to be a bit more productive, as it's getting pretty redundant. Like we were trying to get in circle and then she was missing that corner, and the same thing, it was just back up, return, try again. So we're just getting a little bit in a rut there. So by doing that, we kind of got out of it. It seemed like we had it pretty good, so it was time to kind of retry the canter, and you will see it's actually a bit of a better canter on that try. So as you can see here, I'm opening my outside rein like a lot, just putting a lot of emphasis on the movement here, and we're getting much more result when it comes to pushing her on the outside and getting a better circle that way. So as you can see, it worked pretty good. At this point, I must say guys, my hand was literally frozen to my reins. It had taken just like a grip position. I could not extend my fingers. We were literally freezing, and the reins, like I said, were like super stiff. I could not get really any motion whatsoever with the reins. They were just so straight. So definitely guys, my tip number one here is to make sure you're really prepared and you have the right equipment. Honestly, I did not think that my winter glove would not be able to help me in this situation here, but I will make sure next time to bring at least 2 to 3 pairs of gloves, so if I need to switch it over because I don't have the right one for the temperature, I can at least just exchange it and find a warmer pair of gloves. But it was definitely really cold that day. The horse, like I said, is always like a powerhouse. It's really warm. Like my seat, I'm warm everywhere else, like from my head to my toes, but my hands are just literally frozen. we changed reins, and as you can see here, she's already like doing so much better. On this rein, she's definitely taking full advantage of the 20-meter or even 30-meter circle. She is going all the way into those corners like there's no one's business. She's really attentive, and she's really there with me. At that point, my hands, I don't know if it's because of the frostbite or what, but I was able to feel my hands way more. They were like feeling a little bit more warm, so I was able to actually use my finger motions, which kind of helps a lot when you're riding. So I was quite happy, but you'll see here how smooth this canter was. Like, it's just so amazing, guys. I invite you to just like rewind it, rewatch it, because this was on point. It was so smooth. She is getting really good on this rein, and that is the one that we had the most like issues with at the beginning. It was the counter, like counterclockwise or on the right side, or actually clockwise, which is on the right side. We had like so much issues at the beginning with this rein. Like, she was just so unbalanced, but it is now like her smoothest one ever. Like, when she's cantering, you actually can't even hear her hoofs like touch the ground for as light, like she's so light in it that you just barely hear her coming. But on the other hand, she's very forward, so I have to really learn to kind of tilt her back on her bum a little bit more to get kind of the same effect. But on this side, she naturally is really gifted and talented. It just takes a lot more effort to take it out of her, like just to get her to kind of understand things. On this side is a little trickier, but I know that this side is definitely gold. Like, she is beautiful and amazing on that side. It just took us maybe a good month, almost a month and a half, to really get this nailed like properly. And I'm really proud of this horse for how much effort she's putting and how much she's learning. You can really see that it's definitely paying off. We're just 4 months into training here, and you can see the potential on this horse is amazing. So considering the success that we just had with that canter, as well as the chill factor, we decided to call it a day. So we're just, you know, doing a little bit of a cool down. And then at this point, Hazel is the only thing that's just literally warm in this place. It's just, like I said, freezing cold. So my hands are freezing. I'm actually, the rest of my body is good. It's all warm. My coach is frozen at this point. So I just hopped off and just walked off and go, honestly, because we were just so cold at this point. I didn't want us to risk to be sick, so we just left it for the day, and then that was the end of our lesson. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye for now.